Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings. Shalom and Barakut to you and your entire house, wherever you are on this Shabbat Yom, this most Kadush Yom, this most separated, this most set apart Yom, this most set apart day, which is not just some day. It is a sign and a seal and a mark of the everlasting covenant Yahuwah has made between him and his people. It is the day that identifies us as his covenant people. It is the day that identifies him as the Elohim of creation. Shabbat Shalom to you and your entire house, wherever you are listening under the sound of my voice to the four corners of this earth. Shabbat Shalom to you. Peace and blessings. Shalom and Barakut to you and your entire house. Shabbat Shalom to the elder brother, Yahudah. Shabbat Shalom to the younger brother, Ephraim, commonly called Ephraim. Shabbat Shalom to the former stranger, the former foreigner, who was formerly estranged from the everlasting covenant. But having received the Ruach of adoption, the Ruach HaKadosh, the Ruach of Yahushua HaMashiach, whereby having been engrafted into the olive tree, who is Yahushua, who is Yasharal, and whereby having received the Ruach of adoption, and being engrafted into the olive tree, and whereby becoming privy now to the very same everlasting covenant and promise and inheritance that was given to Yasharal and to Yasharal alone. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to the four corners of this flat plain earth. Wherever you are listening under the sound of my voice, whether it is now listening here live, or whether it will be later on once this video has been uploaded to YouTube to go out to the nations, to the Gentiles, to go out to Ephraim. Whether it's now, whether it's later, Shabbat Shalom to you and to your house, wherever you are listening under the sound of my voice. To those of you who will listen to this teaching, this proclamation, this message later on. Once this teaching, this proclamation, this message has been uploaded to YouTube, if you have a desire to fellowship with us live, to join us live, either here on our Shabbat gatherings or on our fourth day gatherings, if you've heard something that has stirred you, that has stirred your inner being, that has stirred your ruach, that has stirred your nefas, if you have heard something that's caused you to squirm in your seat, and you indeed have the spirit of truth, the ruach of truth, and you've heard his truth, and you have a desire to join us and hear his words live. Once this video has been uploaded to YouTube, there in the video description box of this video, of this teaching, this message, this proclamation, you will find an email address. Please use it. Feel free to use that email address to email us and contact us if you have a desire to join us live, either for our fourth days, otherwise called Wednesdays, or on our Shabbat days, in which men call Saturday. Please use that email address and reach out to us. Even if you have no desire to join us live, use that email address and reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. We sincerely would love to hear from you. If you have desire either to fellowship with us, or just if you have a question, or just to say shalom, we would love to hear from you. If you are new and you are asking yourself, who is or what is Yahuwah's remnant? What is this channel? What is, who are we? What is Yahuwah's remnant? Well, I'll start out by telling who and what we are not. We are not some church. No, we're not some church in the etymology of church, being circe, being circle, being circus, Circe being the Greek goddess of sorcery and wine. Yes, she is. She is known in Greek mythology for getting men drunk off wine and turning them into unclean pigs. Yes, she is. This is what the Circe does. This is what the church does. She does not teach them to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, and she gets them drunk off of charismatic messages that make them feel good and that tickle the ear, and to get them drunk off of her sorcery and wine, and does not teach them to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, whereby sending them away, continuing to do the unclean thing. whereby making them just as abominable as the unclean thing that they are partaking of. We're not church. We're not circuit. We're not the Greek goddess of sorcery and wine. We're not the great whore. We are not Babel. We are his remnant assembly. So we're not church. We're not some 501c3c organization. We're not some camp, and we're not some ministry. We're Yahuwah's remnant kahal, his remnant ecclesia, his remnant assembly, of whom is gathering now from the four corners of this flat plain earth, sealing us with the seal of the living Elohim upon our forehead, pouring out living water into us, sealing us with the Ruach HaKadosh, with his breath, with life. For indeed, if you do not have breath, as the body is dead without breath, you are dead. You are dead, stinking, unclean thing. He is gathering his people, his remnant people, across the four corners of this earth just in the nick of time, bringing us into the bond of covenant, sealing us on board the ark of the covenant just in the nick of time, in order to keep his promise, to keep us from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth, to try the old earth. And indeed, if those days are not shortened, no flesh is going to remain. What the Christian church declares is the great tribulation, but in truth is YAHUAH'S distress. It's YAHUAH'S trouble that is soon to come upon this whole earth. This is who we are. We're his remnant assembly. We're his covenant people, whom in this season, in this Muadai, in this consummation of the times, of whom he's gathering unto himself, sealing us with the seal of the living Elohim, with the Ruach HaKadosh, with the greater separation, with the spirit of Yahushua HaMashiach, sealing us into the bond of covenant with himself, keeping his promise to keep us from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth. This is who we are. This is who we are. We're not some entity. We're not some building. We're not some church. We're not some 501c organization. We're not some ministry and not some camp. We are his remnant assembly, scattered abroad across the four corners of this flat plain earth. And if this is you, those of you who are on YouTube, or perhaps those of you who are near, listening live, listening under the sound of the Master's voice, if this is you and your Ruach has been stirred, then perhaps you too are remnant. Because indeed, his sheep hear his voice, and another voice they will not follow. Indeed, if this is you, use that email address, contact us. We would love to hear from you. We would love to establish contact with you. We would genuinely, sincerely love to hear from you. Nevertheless, welcome to you. Welcome to Yahuwah's Remnant Shabbat Gathering. I am Dawood Ban Yahuwah, and this is my Aisha, otherwise called wife, Ashayah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Excuse me. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings. Shalom and Barakut to you and your entire house, wherever you are listening under the sound of my voice, scattered across the four corners of this flat plain earth. Shabbat Shalom to you. Welcome to Yahuwah's Remnant Shabbat Gathering. Nevertheless, there is a word from the Master for his remnant people. There is a word from the Master for his remnant people. His remnant people. Because even if you are currently not remnant, and you are a part of the nations, you are a part of the Gentiles, you are a part of Ephraim, of Ephraim, the understanding is this, that as of the year 722 BCE, Ephraim was divorced. And Ephraim has become now the completeness of the nations in accordance with Genesis chapter 48, verse 19. Ephraim was given a writ of divorce and sent away and put away and scattered amongst the nations, where Ephraim remains scattered, divorced, and put away unto this day. And Ephraim has become that coat of many colors that Yahuwah made for his son, Yahushua. Ephraim is that coat of many colors because Ephraim is the son, the youngest son of Yahushua, commonly called Joseph. Joseph being firstborn. Yes, he was. Although Joseph was the 11th born of Yahuwah, the firstborn blessing, the firstborn barakah, the inheritance of firstborn passed down to him. After the firstborn, according to the flesh, Rahuban, commonly called Reuben, slept with his father's wife. That distinction then became Joseph's, or Yahushua. That distinction was passed down from Yahushua to his youngest son, Ephraim, there in the 48th chapter of Genesis. Ephraim then received the firstborn blessing. He received the distinction of firstborn. He received the inheritance. Ephraim, he is firstborn. And in accordance with that prophecy or that shadow or that sign of the coat of many colors, Ephraim has become a coat of many colors. He indeed is now every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. He is now every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. In Ephraim, in Ephraim, the promise to Adam that I'm going to redeem your son. I'm going to redeem my Yaqid, my only begotten, the apple of my eye. I'm going to receive you, Adam. Adam meaning man, and by extension, mankind. I'm going to redeem you from darkness. Yes, I am. I'm going to keep my promise, and I'm going to redeem you, my firstborn son, Adam. Mankind, I'm going to redeem you, and my plan of redemption is going to be carried out in Ephraim, who has now become the completeness of the nation, and who has now become every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. I'm going to redeem my firstborn through Ephraim, who is firstborn. Yes, he is. When Jacob put his right hand upon the head of Ephraim and his left hand upon the head of Manasseh, symbolic of him, transferring the firstborn blessing, the firstborn barakah, the firstborn inheritance that was given to him from his father Yitzchak, and whom was given to Yitzchak from his father Abraham, and who was given to Abraham from Abba, who was given to Abba from Shem, Asham, and who was given to Shem from Noach, who was given to Noach from Methuselah, who was given to Methuselah to Kanuk, all the way down to Adam. This firstborn barakah, this firstborn blessing, which is being carried out in the house of Yasharal. The problem is, you see, Ephraim, he's the youngest son. He's the youngest son, and as the youngest son would dictate, Ephraim is still full of folly. Ephraim is, indeed, children have folly in them, and that folly must be driven out via the rod of correction. Ephraim is no different. Ephraim is still full of himself. Ephraim is still walking in accordance with his flesh. Ephraim is still walking according to his folly. And because of this, the rod of correction must be applied to Ephraim via the fires of the great distress. Yes, Ephraim is destined for the great distress. For out of distress, Yahuwah shall be saved. Who is Yahuwah? Yahuwah is Ephraim. Ephraim carries the name of his grandfather, Yasharal. Ephraim is destined for the fires of the great distress. Thus in Revelation 7, we see there, out of the great distress comes every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Reminiscent of the prophecy spoken out of the mouth of Yahuwah in Genesis, the 48th chapter, verse 19, and that Ephraim would become the completeness of the nations. So Yasharal, which was once 12 tribes, has become now 2 houses. As of the year 722 BCE, Yasharal, which was once 12 tribes, which is still 12 tribes, but we are now divided into 2 houses. The northern kingdom being Ephraim, commonly called who is Ephraim, otherwise called Yasharal, and sometimes called Shamarum. This is Ephraim. This is the northern 10 tribes which split after the death of Shalama. And as of the year 722 BCE, once again, Ephraim was given a certificate of divorce and was put away because of their whoredom, where Ephraim now remains separated and divorced until this day. And so even if the Gentiles, even if Ephraim comes back into covenant now, Ephraim doesn't come back as Ephraim. Ephraim doesn't come back as Yasharal. That distinction will not become manifest until after the great distress, when two sticks, the house of Yehuda and the house of Ephraim and the house of Ephraim, become one again. And we will once again have one sovereign, and who came as the seed of Dawood, as the seed of David, and who will sit on the throne of David that was established in the earth through David, and he will rule Yasharal as sovereign and Elohim for 1,000 years in the person of Yahushua HaMashiach. That would not happen until then. Until then, the scepter, Barak Yahuwah, shall not pass from Yehuda, who was never divorced, although sent away, who was never divorced, but sent away from his presence, but never divorced. The scepter shall not pass from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shilu comes in the person of Yahushua HaMashiach. So this message is for his remnant people. And even if Ephraim, the Gentiles, hear this message and come out of darkness into his marvelous light, you engraft into the olive tree. You engraft into the house of Yehuda. Yehuda, via Romans 11, being the natural branches. Being the natural branches who were never plucked off, who were never divorced. Yehuda being the natural branches, his covenant people who are never divorced from covenant with him. Even though we are sent away and put away from our land, we were never divorced. The wild branches being the nations, being Ephraim, coming back into covenant with him, whom we are told via lips of Paul that you are not to exalt yourself above the natural branches. You are not to exalt yourselves above the natural branches. And so, once again, these messages are for his remnant people, for his covenant people who has never been divorced. This message is for the house of Yehuda. Whether you're native born or engrafted, this house is for his remnant people. Because only his remnant people will see, will hear, and will understand. It's not for anyone else. It's not for anyone else. Only his remnant people will have that sense of urgency and have a discernment as to the times that we are in. Only his remnant people will have this discernment. And only his remnant people will likewise govern themselves. Govern themselves, understanding that that night is almost here. Day is almost done. Day is almost complete, and night is almost here. And understanding that now we must awake from our slumber, we must awake from our sleep, and we must do the work of our Father while it is still day, because night cometh, and no man can work. So the Master has a message this day for his remnant people, no one else, his covenant people. His covenant people has never been divorced, the house of Yehuda. The house of Yehuda has a number in this season. And that number is 144,000 Yahudim worldwide. 144,000 Yahudim who it's going to please him to keep them from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth. As it is ordained in the Torah that the elder son, the elder daughter is to be given away in marriage first. This is brought clear to us in the 29th chapter of Genesis, where we find Laah given away in marriage first because she was the elder. Albeit through trickery, she was the elder and she was to be given in marriage first. Leah is the mother of Yehuda. Rachel was given in marriage last. She is the mother of Yahusuf, who is the father of Ephraim. Indeed, understanding this, Yehuda goes first. Yehuda is the first to be redeemed from this earth. Yehuda is the first to go to Mount Zion. Yehuda is the first to return to our land. I'm not going to go line upon line, precept upon precept about that. If you've listened at any length, then you understand this. If you have not listened at any length before you open your mouth, go back to at least Searching for the Ancient Path, part 54. Because I've seen some open their mouth thinking that the master servant is preaching some Christian rapture doctrine. This is not some Christian rapture doctrine. This is the scriptures. These are the words of the master. This has nothing to do with some Christian rapture, but the master does desire to save his covenant people from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. These are not my words. They are his. So before you open your mouths ignorantly, go back to at least Searching for the Ancient Path, part 54. You need to go back further, but at least start there, so that you have some understanding as to where the Master has us in this season. He desires to save Yahudah, the elder daughter, the elder son who was never divorced from him, whom the scriptures declare is a number of 144,000 to appear on Mount Zion there in the presence of the Lamb, giving white robes and giving songs that no one else can sing. From there is nothing new is under the sun, as our ancestors went to Mount Sinai to hear the words of the Master, to learn his ways. And from there hath they done correctly. And from there they were to be lights to the Gentiles, lights to the world, to bring the nations under the bond of covenant. From his Kandus mountain, from Mount Zion, back into our land. Back into our land to do our Master's bidding. Where in Zechariah 14 it declares we will be found fighting in our land. He desires to save a remnant people. He desires to save his covenant people, to keep us from the hour of trial, to show the world that he still makes a distinction between his people, that he still makes a distinction between light and darkness, that he still has a chosen covenant people. He desires in this season to make a distinction between his people. And he has sent his messenger by to speak to that people, to prepare that people, for his soon return, and to prepare that people for this season and what's to come, because the Master has declared through his servant that we're not getting out of here right away, that we're going to see some things, we're going to experience some things. He has promised to keep us from the hour of trial, but we're going to see and experience some things, which is part of that greater separation, which is part of the sifting process, to sift his people from the rest. And he sent me by to get his people out of a mind of complacency. Out of a mind of complacency. You're not getting out of here right away. He is coming soon, but you're going to see some things. Hear him. You're going to see some things. You're not going to skip through the tulips all the way to Mount Zion. You're going to go through some things. Stop speaking that way. At least you find yourself in the valley of oh no with Ephraim, saying, oh no, how did I end up here? I thought I had enough belief. I thought I had the belief necessary to make it through this sifting process. I thought I had the belief necessary to make it to Mount Zion. Stop speaking this way. You're going to be proven, Yahudah. You're going to be tested severely. There was a crown at stake. There was a crown of life at stake. And not only is there a crown of life at stake, the Master has promised some thrones to rule. Some will rule and some will be ruled over. That's not going to be simply given to you. It's not going to be simply given to you. As our father Yaakov wrestled with Yahuwah unto daybreak, and he refused to let go. Through affliction and through pain, he refused to let go. And his name was changed from Yaakov, which means supplanter, to Yasharal, which means to rule with Elohim, which means Prince of Elohim. If you desire to be called by that name, you too have got to wrestle. You too will be proven. You too may have to limp. You too are going to have to hold on. You're going to see some things in this season that are going to cause the hearts of men to fail. Do not think you're going to skip through the tulips to Mount Zion. We're going to have to fight all the way there, Yahudah. And in this greater separation in and which is happening right before our eyes. The Master has declared through the mouth of his servant, it is belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous. I'm not talking a Christian belief. I'm not talking a religious belief. Please hear him. Hear his words. Hear his words. Most do not have the necessary belief. Most don't have the belief required to face the things that we are going to face and to be counted worthily of going to Mount Zion. Most do not have that kind of belief. Yahuwah, most don't have that kind of belief. Most do not. Stop speaking that way. Yes, he's coming soon. We don't know when that soon is. We do know that we're going to face some things. The pit is going to be open. There's going to be famine. There's going to be scarcity of food. There's going to be inflation. What he says there in the 6th chapter of Revelation, to not harm the oil and the wine. And the demons coming up out of the pit will be able to harm and to sting the whole world, while men will pray for death, but death will flee them. They will be able to harm everyone except those having the seal of the living Elohim upon their forehead. His covenant people, of whom he's entered into the bond of covenant with. Stop speaking that way. Stop speaking that way. Stop speaking that way. And seek first to be found safe in him. Him and you, you and him. One with him in the bond of covenant. And let that be sufficient. He's coming soon, but you're going to have to hold on. You're going to have to hold on. You're going to be weak. You're going to be tired. You're going to have very little strength left. When he comes to gather his covenant people, you're going to be proven. You're going to be proven. And only after you're proven will you be fit as those fine specks of fine rare gold to be placed into his treasury. But if you know Torah, before you can be placed in his treasury, you've got to go through the fire, and you've got to be washed before you can be placed into his treasury. This is Torah. You're going to be proven. Stop speaking that way and hear his words. It is belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous. If you're taking notes today, remnant people, the title of this teaching is Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 93. The greater separation has begun. The greater separation between his covenant people, which is given a number of 144,000 worldwide, between them and the rest, 7+ billion people. The greater separation has begun. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. This is the ancient path. It's always been about belief. Had Adam and Kua simply believed, we would not be in this mess. Because had they simply believed, nothing could have prevented them from disobeying the Master. And it was disobedience that caused separation between them and Yahuwah and caused them to be cast out of the garden. Had they believed, they would have obeyed. And this is the simple truth. If you believe, you will obey. You will do righteousness. You will do the works of righteousness. If you believe, you will do the works of righteousness, period. There will be found no guile in you. There will be found no falsehood in you. And only those in this who are like this, who are pure, who are undefiled, whom have no guile in them and who have no falsehood on their lips. It is only these who follow the Lamb wherever he leads them. It is only these who's going to Mount Zion. 144,000 true believers worldwide. 144,000 true believers worldwide. Thus also, it is true belief that is going to save our lives in this season. It is true belief that it's going to save the lives of his covenant people in this season. Believe. Believe. If you believe, you will do the works of righteousness, and no unclean matter will be found in you. Hear him. If you believe, you will do righteousness, and no uncleanness will be found in you. If you do otherwise, you're not a true believer. Understand him. There are some who are nearly perfect, who are going to go through the great distress so that they will be perfect, so that no guile or no falsehood will be found in them. There are 7 assemblies, and some of them are nearly perfect, but only one of them is perfect. Only one of them is found where there is no guile, no falsehood found in them. Only one of them that is pure and undefiled. Only one of them is found, having the name of the Father written upon their forehead, having the seal of the living Elohim. Some of them are nearly perfect. Hear the words of the Master. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit. Stop talking that way. These are true believers. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit. This is what he's looking for in this season, in the consummation of time. It's the good tree that cannot bear bad fruit. Hear him. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit. Neither can one who is truly born of Elohim commit sin. Neither can one who is truly born from above, born of water and of spirit, born from above, neither can one who is truly born of Elohim commit sin. Neither can a bad tree produce good fruit. There are many who are nearly perfect, hear him, who are going through the fires of distress, so that after the fires of distress, after the purging, after the purifying, after the cleansing, they will be perfect. Do not take these messages, these warnings lightly. True belief will save our lives in this season. 144,000 true believers worldwide. Worldwide. 144,000 true believers in this season. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little, there a little. Searching for the ancient path, part 93. The greatest separation has begun. True belief will save our lives. True belief will save our lives. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. We left off last 4th day reading Revelation 3. We're going to start back here on this Shabbat reading Revelation 3 for continuity purposes. We're going to read Revelation 3 once again, because believe it or not, some of you have forgotten already. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Already, from the 4th day until now, to the 7th day, some of you have forgotten already. But for continuity purposes, we're going to start off line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Searching for the ancient path, part 93, the greatest separation has begun. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. True belief will save our lives in this season. Revelation chapter 3, Kazum. Revelation chapter 3, Kazum, revelation. Revelation meaning what? The revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach as Yahuwah. He is revealed as Yahuwah in the book of Kazum, Revelation chapter 3. He is revealed as Yahuwah. His covenant people are revealed in the book of Revelation. And the man of lawlessness is revealed in chapter 13 of Revelation. 13 being the number of rebellion. 13 meaning the 13th from Adam, who is Nimrod. Namrud being the 13th from Adam. His name, Namrud, Nimrod, in itself meaning rebellion. He is revealed in Revelation chapter 13. The man of lawlessness is revealed. But most importantly, Yahushua HaMashiach is revealed in Kazum, the book of Revelation, to reveal as Yahuwah Al-Shaddai. He's revealed as the first and the last. He's revealed as the Aleph and the Tah, the beginning and the everlasting covenant. Yes, he is. He is revealed there to all men, to all mankind, of whom he has given eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to understand that Yahuwah himself wrapped himself up in flesh and came and suffered for you. To believe and to say anything else is to diminish what the Father has done for you. Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahuwah is revealed as Yahushua HaMashiach in the book of Revelation. Yes, he is. Nevertheless, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 through 12. Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 through 12. True belief will save your lives. The greatest separation has begun. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. The righteous are his covenant people. The unrighteous are the unbelievers. The ones that are not perfect. The ones that are not bearing that fruit. The requisite fruit that leads to Mount Zion and that leads to everlasting life. These are unrighteous. There's only two types of people, the righteous and the unrighteous. True believers, the righteous, are going to Mount Zion. The unrighteous are going to be left in the fires of the great distress to become righteous, to be made righteous, to be made pure, to be made clean. Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 through 12, beginning at verse 7. Come on, read, little one.
And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia write, he who is Kadosh, he who is true, he who has the key of Dawood, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens, says this, I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut it, that you have little power, yet have guarded my word.
You have little power, you have little strength, Yahudah. You have little power, you have little strength. When he comes to get us, we're going to have very little power, very little strength left. Stop speaking that way. He is coming soon, but you're going to see some things. And you're going to have to overcome them. He desires to use us. When some of these things come to the earth, to be fruit-bearing trees during a time of famine, water-producing rocks during a time of drought, light-producing rocks during a time of darkness. We must survive the sifting. There is a great sifting going on when he's using Hasatan right now to try and sift us from the belief, to try and separate us from him. He's using him right now. And in that separation, he's building up a spiritual house of true believers, one in which the adversary cannot tear down. One that is firmly built on a firm foundation in which the adversary cannot tear down. Do not say you cannot be torn down. Do not say you cannot be torn down. Rather say, Yahuwah willing, I will not be torn down. Because it is he who builds us up. It is his Ruach who strengthens us, not by power, not by might, but by his Ruach, thus says Yahuwah. It is he who gives us the ability to continue. It is he who gives us the ability to hold on, to take one more step. And when he comes, the text declares we're going to have very little power, very little strength left. You're going to have to withstand something. You're going to have to withstand some proving. You're going to have to withstand some testing. You're going to see some things with your eyes that will cause the mind to blank. There are things that men see in war that they're not used to seeing. And many are coming home. Many sons and many daughters are coming home from these wars with diseases of the mind in which they label as PTSD. Their minds are gone. Their minds have snapped because of things that they have seen. Those things that they have seen pale in comparison, Yahudah, to what is coming upon this earth. The things that are going to be seen, your mind must be strong. And if you are in him and him in you, then he is not giving you a ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of what? Of a sound mind. But you must be proven. You must be proven and tested and sifted and prepared for what's to come. And we must overcome what's to come. But when he comes, we're going to have very little power and very little strength left. Come on, read, little one.
and have not denied my name. See, I am giving up those of the congregation of Hashatan who say they are Yahudim and are not, but lie. See, I am making them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you, because you have guarded my word of endurance.
Because you have guarded my word of endurance. We went over this the past fourth night. Because you have guarded my word of belief, Yahudah, through the weakness of your flesh, through your weariness and through the weakness of your flesh, through affliction and through pain and through despair and through proving and through testing. You have yet guarded my word of belief. And you have not denied my name. You have guarded my word of belief. And because you have guarded my word of belief. Come on, read, little one.
I also shall guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon all the world.
I'm going to save your life. Your belief is going to save your life. Because you're going to guard, because you have guarded my word of belief, I'm going to keep you from the time of death. I'm going to keep you from the time when death himself manifests in flesh as Yahuwah is life and Hasatan is death. I'm going to keep you from that time when the destroyer comes, when death comes to claim the life of men, when he comes to claim his flesh, when he comes to claim his portion, when he comes to claim that which is his. And to escape death, hear him. There is nowhere to hide on this earth. There is nowhere where you can run. He is going to be sovereign of the whole earth, the anti-Mashiach of the whole earth for 3.5 years. He is going to govern and rule all flesh for 3.5 years. He's even going to be given the power to overcome those who believe, who have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and who keep the commandments of Yahuwah. He's going to even be given the power to overcome them. There will be nowhere to hide. There will be nowhere to run. Nowhere can you hide. Whether you go to the highest mountain or whether you go in the deepest cave, there will be nowhere for you to hide. You cannot hide from Ruach. There will be nowhere for you to hide. The only way to escape this time is, as it is written in the book of Revelation, Kazum, chapter 14, is to be redeemed from the earth. This is the only way to escape this time. Otherwise, there's nowhere to run. Death will rule this earth. Death will rule this earth. And if the master doesn't come to say, hold up, that's enough, to stop this mayhem, to stop this chaos, to stop the death, if he does not come to stop it, no flesh is going to remain. Hear him. There will be bodies stacked on top of bodies. There will be nowhere where you can walk without seeing a dead body. There will be nowhere where you can go without smelling death and decay. Even life in the seas and the waters and the rivers is going to die. The birds of the air are going to die. Men, most of mankind is going to die. No different than the first distress. When the waters of the flood came and just about everything with the breath of life died except 8 righteous beings which were on the ark. If those days are not shortened, all flesh is going to die. But for the sake of the chosen, of the elect, which will be very few when he returns, just a small amount when he returns, for their sake, those days are going to be shortened. Now I say for their sake, but he just reminded me. He just reminded me when he returns, Yahudah will be on the earth. Yahudah will be found in the land fighting. Yahudah, his chosen, his elect, will be found in the land fighting. So for his chosen sake, for his elect's sake, those days will be short. Those days will be shortened. Do not take these words lightly. True belief will save your life. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. If you truly believe, you will hold on. You will endure. You will do the works of righteousness. No unclean matter will be found in you. No falsehood will be found in you. You would keep yourself via the power of the Ruach HaKodesh undefiled and clean, separated from every unclean matter, doing the works of righteousness, being a light to the nations, being a light in the midst of darkness, being a light to the Gentiles, being found well doing, being found well doing, being found well doing when he comes, because yes, behold, he comes quickly, and his reward is with him to reward each according to his works. Come on, read, little one.
To try those who dwell on the earth. See, I am coming speedily. Hold what you have, that no one take your crown. He who overcomes, I shall make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim, and he shall by no means go out. And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim.
And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim.
And the name of the city of my Elohim, the renewed Jerusalem, which comes down out of the heaven from my Elohim, and my renewed name.
Barak Yahuwah. These are those sealed with the seal of the living Elohim. These are those sealed with the seal of the living Elohim. Having been sealed on board his Ark of the Covenant. Having been made perfect and sealed on board the Ark of the Covenant, kept safe from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth by belief. By belief. If you have belief, then you will believe the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. And if you believe the Torah and the prophets and the writings, then you will obey. You will obey and you will abstain from every unclean thing. You will keep your hands pure and unclean and undefiled from every unclean thing. No falsehood will be found on your lips. No guile will be found in you if you believe. Our righteous fathers believed, and they did these words. They did these words. These words that are being proclaimed to you, they did righteousness. They believed and they did righteousness. And they were called righteous because they did righteousness. They did what was well-pleasing to the Master because they believed. Belief has always separated the righteous from the unrighteous. And we're in a time of a greater separation, the greatest separation the earth has ever seen, where 144,000 true believers are being separated from 7+ billion people. 7+ billion, some of which who are almost there. Who are almost there. But for some reason or another are just missing the mark. Who are going to be corrected in the fires of the great distress. Do not take these words lightly. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. The greater separation has begun. The separation from unbelief to belief. The separation from unbelief to belief. It is belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous, and it is belief that will save our lives in this season. Give us another precept, little one.
Revelation 14:1-5.
Kazoo, Revelation chapter 14, verses 1-5. Here in Revelation 3, we read about those who have very little strength, very little power yet have not denied his name, and who have guarded his word of belief. Who have guarded his word of belief. Hupomeo, I believe is what it was, little one. Who have guarded his word of belief, and who have not denied his name, who have held on. Who have held on through adversity, who have held on through testing, who have held on through affliction, who have held on in the fires of testing, having very little strength, being weary, but have held on to his word of belief. It is these who he is sealed with the seal of the living Elohim, and who he is making them as a supporting post in his Ha'iko, in his temple, who has promised that they will never go out from there. They will never go out from there. He is writing the name of the Father upon them, making them his dwelling place, making them his temple, because they have believed and they have done righteousness. Because true belief will compel you to do righteousness. True belief will compel you to abstain from every unclean thing. It will keep you from defiling yourself. True belief will lead you to Mount Zion. Revelation chapter 14, verses 1-5. Beginning at verse 1, read, little one.
And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion,
Mm-hmm.
and with him 144,000,
Uh-huh.
having his father's name written upon their foreheads.
144,000 true believers who have guarded the word of belief, having the name of the Father written upon their forehead. We just read this in Revelation, Kazon 3, that he would write the name of the Father upon their forehead, and I will keep you from the hour of trial. And the only way to be kept from the hour of trial is to be redeemed from this earth. And the only way to be redeemed from this earth is through belief and through the works of righteousness, through believing the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, believing the words of Yahushua HaMashiach and doing them, doing righteousness, not just hearing it, but being a doer of righteousness, being a doer of good works through belief and receiving the Ruach HaKadosh, receiving the seal of the living Elohim, receiving his name written upon our foreheads through belief, through our works of righteousness, through repentance, through belief, through the immersion in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the forgiveness of sin, and whereby receiving the Ruach HaKadosh for the promises to us who are near and to those who are far off, for as many as Yahuwah Elohim shall call. This is that same 144,000 that was read about in Revelation 3, and that is mentioned in Revelation 7, sealed with the seal of the living Elohim, becoming his dwelling places through belief. Through belief. Their lives being saved because they believe. Not a Christian belief, but true belief. Christians declare they believe, but they will not do righteousness. Righteousness, Christians, is Torah. Righteousness becomes, Torah becomes your righteousness when you believe and you obey. True belief. Belief in the Torah and the prophets and the writings. Believing and subsequently aligning your lives with what the word declares for us to do. And whereby, where being clothed in the righteousness of our Father, as a husband is ordained to clothe his wife, he will then clothe you in his righteousness. He will cover your shame. He will cover your nakedness. Yes, he will. He will cover your sin. He will clothe you in righteousness because you do righteousness. And he will come into you as a man goes into a woman. He will have relations with you. Because you hunger for him. You hunger and thirst for righteousness, and he has promised to fill you. It is belief, true belief, that is going to save the lives of the righteous in this season, and that will lead us to Mount Zion. True belief, unprecedented belief that is going to save us from death in this season and lead us to Mount Zion. Come on, read, little one.
And I heard a voice out of heaven like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a renewed song before the throne, and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth.
This is the only way to be delivered from what's coming, is to be redeemed from this earth. Mount Zion is not of this earth. I'm not talking some Christian rapture doctrine. This is scripture that is being proclaimed in the hearing of your ears. Come on, read.
They are those who were not defiled with women.
They are undefiled. They are pure. They are virgins. Read.
For they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on.
They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them. If he says to you, Yahudah, walk through those raging seas. I understand that there's a typhoon. I understand that there's a hurricane. I said, walk through those raging seas. Following the Lamb wherever he leads you. Stand here on this beach. I know that a 600-foot tidal wave is coming. I said, stand here and tell it to hush and go back to its rest. Following the Lamb wherever he goes. Walking through a field of Raphaim or Nephilim, who desire to consume your flesh. Walk, fight, go forth. Walk in the midst of a warring army with bullets flying. I said unprecedented belief. I said the text says to follow him wherever he leads you. Wherever he leads you. To walk in the midst of danger. To walk in the midst of peril. To go wherever he leads you. Because you believe. You believe that he has sealed you. And you believe that no harm shall come to you. You believe that nothing shall destroy you. Because he has sealed you. He has sealed you. And he has given you a promise to deliver and to save you from the hour of trial. True belief, Yahudah, is going to save your life. And true belief is going to separate the righteous from the unrighteous. The righteous are going to follow him wherever he leads them, and we're going to Mount Zion. The unrighteous, like, no, he ain't calling us to that. He's not calling us to walk through a raging sea. No, you're not hearing his voice. He ain't calling us to do that. He's calling us to go flee, to go hide. He's calling us to buy lands, little one. He's calling us to store up on water and food and ammunition and weapons and to buy lands and to go off grid and to go hide somewhere. I know the text says that you don't put your lamp, that you don't put a lamp under a lampstand, you put it on top of a lampstand. I know it means that, but you got to stay within context, you see. You got to stay within the context of the scripture. That don't mean us. That you're right, it doesn't mean you. That's for his covenant people. That's for his covenant people. Those who are not in covenant with him are going to go hide. They're going to tell you, Yahudah, that it's time to flee. They're going to promulgate this flee doctrine. Tell you that we must flee back to the land, that we must go to Africa, that we must flee to the wilderness. They're gonna promulgate this fear doctrine. The righteous will do righteousness. The righteous will believe. The righteous will follow the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them. The righteous will follow his voice, true belief, all the way to Mount Zion. Yes, we will. And true belief is going to save our lives in this season. Come on, read, Lord.
They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Elohim and to the Lamb.
Being first fruits. Being first fruits to the Lamb and to Elohim. This is the best of the oil. This is the best of the wine. How do I know? Because he's our high priest. He is our high priest in the order of Melchizedek. He is Melchizedek. And this is his portion. The first fruits are the portion of the priest. Yes, it is. More specifically of the high priest. And so here now is the best of the oil, the best of the wine, the best of the first that splits the womb. This is the first of the produce that comes from the soil. This is first fruit. This is the portion of the high priest. This is the greatest separation. These are those who are undefiled. These are those who are pure. These are those who have no falsehood proceeding from their mouths. These are those who follow the Lamb's voice wherever he goes. These are true believers. True believers. True believers. 144,000 worldwide in this season. Come on, read, little one.
And in their mouth was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before the throne of Elohim.
In their mouths is found no falsehood. Underline that. In their mouths is found no lies. In their mouths is found no untruths. In their mouths is found no falsehood. No falsehood. Hear him? In their mouths is found no falsehood. There's a lot of falsehood being promulgated in this season. Whether it's a little falsehood or a lot of falsehood. Falsehood is falsehood. Here it says no falsehood is found in their mouths. If there's any falsehood, whether it's a little or a lot of falsehood, in the mouth of someone you are listening to, you are in danger. And you're in dire danger of being led to the valley of Ono. No falsehood. No deception. No untruth. will be found in their mouths. This leads to our next precept. Come on, little one, give us another precept.
Revelation 21, 1 through 8.
Revelation 21, verses 1 through 8. Kazum, chapter 21, verses 1 through 8. Actually, we have not gotten to the precept I have in mind yet. Kazum, Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 through 8. But we are still talking how true belief will save our lives. True belief will save our lives in this season, which is just a shadow of things to come. True belief is going to save our lives in this season, and true belief is going to save our lives throughout eternity. Yes, it is. True belief is going to save our lives throughout eternity. True belief will save our lives from the hour of trial, from death that is coming, and will lead to Mount Zion. True belief will lead us to the renewed Jerusalem and the renewed earth. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. True belief will save our lives. Kazum, Revelation chapter 21, beginning at verse 1. Come on, read, little one.
And I saw a renewed heaven and a renewed earth.
And I saw a renewed heaven and a renewed earth. And this is after the 1,000-year millennial reign. This is after the 144,000 have been led to Mount Zion to save their lives from the hour of trial. And I saw a renewed Shamayim and a renewed earth. Come on.
For the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea is no more. And I, YAHUAH'S, saw the Kadosh city, renewed Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from Elohim.
Yes.
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Yes.
And I heard a loud voice from the heavens saying, See, the booth of Elohim is with men.
See, the tabernacle of Yahuwah is with men. Read.
And he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Elohim himself shall be with them.
And Elohim himself shall be with them. He shall be their Elohim, and they shall be his people throughout eternity. Come on, read.
And be their Elohim.
Read.
And Elohim shall wipe away every tear
and
from their eyes.
Elohim shall wipe away every tear from their eyes.
And there shall be no more death.
Hear him. And there shall be no more death. True belief will save your life in this season and throughout eternity. And there will be no more death. Read.
Nor mourning.
No mourning.
Nor crying.
Nor crying.
And there shall be no more pain.
And there shall be no more pain. Read.
For the former matters have passed away.
For the former matters have passed away.
And he who was sitting on the throne said,
Read.
See, I make all matters new.
I make all matters new. Read.
And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and trustworthy.
Write, for these words are true and trustworthy. Read.
And he said to me, It is done.
It is done. Come on.
I am the Aleph and the Tav,
The beginning and the everlasting covenant. Come on.
and the end.
Yes.
To the one who thirsts I shall give of the fountain of the water of
To the
life.
one who thirsts, I will fill him with righteousness, even right now, and save his life. Come on, read.
Without payment.
The
one who overcomes shall inherit all this.
The one who overcomes shall inherit all this. You're going to go through something, Yahudah, even to inherit Mount Zion. To get there, you must overcome. You must believe. True belief will save your life. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. True belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous, even throughout eternity. Come on, read.
And I shall be his Elohim.
I shall be his Elohim.
And he shall be my son.
And he shall be my son. Come on.
But as for the cowardly.
And
untrustworthy.
And
abominable.
And
murderers. And those who whore. And drug sorcerers.
And idolaters.
And all the false. Their part is in the lake which burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death.
All the unbelievers, all the false, all the unbelievers, your place is the lake of fire. All the false. If you're true, if you're a true believer, there will be no falsehood. You will not be false. You will not be false, and you will not be cowardly. You will not be cowardly. True belief will prevent you from being cowardly. Has he not commanded us to be bold and courageous?
Yes.
True belief will prevent us from being cowardly. True belief will save our lives in this season and throughout eternity. But the false are going to die in this season, and the false are going to die the second death. unbelievers are going to die in this season, and they're going to die in the second death throughout eternity. Belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. True belief will save our lives in this season. True belief will save our lives throughout eternity. True belief will lead to eternity, because true belief will lead to the works of righteousness. True belief will lead to that which pleases the Master. True belief will lead to us refraining from every unclean thing. True belief will cause us to seek with a hunger and thirst the very nature and character of Yahuwah himself, and cause us to walk like him. True belief will save your life. Come on, read, little one.
Revelation 22, 14, 15.
Revelation 22. Revelation 22. Kazum, chapter 22. Revelation chapter 22, verses 14 and 15. Revelation Kazum, chapter 22, verses 14 through 15. Beginning at verse 14. Come on, read.
Blessed are those doing his commands.
Blessed, Baruch, are those doing his commands. These are the righteous. Blessed are the righteous. Baruch are the righteous. Blessed are the righteous who are found doing his command, because they believe. And if you believe, you will do. As Abraham believed, and it was accounted to him as righteousness. He believed, and he did. He did the works of righteousness because he believed. Baruch are those who are found doing his commandments. Read.
So that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life.
So that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life.
And to enter through the gates into the city.
And to enter into the gates of the city. Read.
But outside are the dogs.
Listen here. But outside. Outside where? Outside of the gates. This is spoken of via the mouth of the Mashiach. This is spoken of even in the Bayit Kadashah. When speaking of outside the gates, we're speaking of Gahinum. We're speaking of the fires, to where the refuge, of where the waste, of where the unclean thing is taken outside the gates, of taken outside the city and burned. And burned. Understand the idiom. Taken outside and thrown into the lake of fire outside the gates and burned. Nothing unclean will enter through the gates of the city. Nothing unclean, nothing impure, nothing false will enter through the gates of the city. No unbelievers will enter through the gates of the city. No unrighteous will enter through the gates of the city. No unbelievers will go to Mount Zion. No unbelievers. No unbelievers will go to Mount Zion. Only the righteous will go. True believers. But outside are the dogs. Read.
And those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood.
And all who love and do falsehood. And all who love and do falsehood. Who do that which is not true. Who do that which is not true. A little falsehood is still falsehood. Walking in shade is still darkness. The righteous must be perfect. The righteous will follow the Lamb's voice wherever he goes. If you believe him, follow him. If you believe the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, do what it says to do. Follow him, and in accordance with the Torah, turn neither to the right or to the left of it. Turn neither to the right or to the left of the narrow way, of the narrow path that leads to everlasting life, whereby having no falsehood, no untruth, no lie, no uncleanness found in you, no defilement found in you, because you believe. Because you believe. All those who love and do falsehood with the dogs are going to be cast out of the city into Gahinum, and to the lake that burns with fire, the second death, throughout eternity. Throughout eternity. Why have the Master placed an emphasis on falsehood? I think we're getting ready to read that text now, little one. Why has the Master placed an emphasis on falsehood? See, the unbelievers will do something false. An unbeliever will do false things. An unbeliever will speak false things. Yes, he will. An unbeliever will add to and take away from the text. The Torah, the prophets, and the writings is not just simply good enough for them. The pure, unadulterated milk of the word, that the bar, which gets us into the door, which gets us through the door into the house where we meet the head, is not good enough for them. They've got to add to or take away. They've got to look for stuff. Because the simplicity, the pure simplicity of the word is not good enough for them. And they will speak falsehood. And they will do falsehood. They will do untruths. They will do untruths. These are unbelievers. These are unbelievers. And no unbeliever is going to enter through the gates of the city. No unbeliever is getting to Mount Zion. This is truly a separation, a greater separation between believers and unbelievers, the righteous and the unrighteous. Understand him. A righteous man, a good tree cannot bear bad fruit. A righteous man, a righteous woman, a believer cannot bear bad fruit. Neither can a bad tree produce good fruit. Righteous from the unrighteous. It is belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous. And true belief will save our lives in this season, because it will keep us from every manner of false thing. It will keep us from all falsehood, from everything that is untruth, and keep us in the path of righteousness. Belief will do this. Belief will keep us in the path of righteousness no matter what. Belief will keep us doing what is righteous and clean and pure in the eyes of the Master. Give us another precept, little one.
2 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 12.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Second Thessalonians chapter 2. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Master's been talking falsehood for the past 5-10 minutes. Either you're true or you're false. Is there another option, little one? Now, I've taken some of them multiple choice tests, and I like them because I ain't no smart man. So I like them multiple choice tests. Look, you hear me, tests? I like them. I like the true and false answers. There is no in between, is it? Is there an unsure? Is there? True or false? Either you're true or you're false. Either you're a believer or you're an unbeliever. There is no in between. He told you. There are some that are near perfect. They're false. Either you're true or you're false. If you're true, there is no falsehood found in you. If you're a true believer, 144,000 worldwide, there is no falsehood found in you. True or false? True or false? You're being tested. You're being tested, and it is a multiple choice questionnaire. True or false? Believer or unbeliever? You're being tested. You're being proven, whether you know it or not. To test and see whether you're true or whether you're false. Whether you're a believer or whether you're an unbeliever. Whether you believe the Torah and the prophets and the writings and the words of the Mashiach and the words of his taught ones. And do them, or you do not. True or false is the choice. That's what's on the questionnaire. That's what's on the test. True or false. There is no in between. Either you're true or you're false. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. It talks here of the man of lawlessness who was revealed in Revelation 13. The 13th chapter, the chapter of rebellion. That reveals the man of rebellion. That reveals the man of lawlessness. Namrud, the 13th from Adam, whose name itself means rebellion. He is the man of lawlessness through whom Hashatan is going to work signs and wonders unlike the world has ever seen. And through whom unbelievers are going to believe, little one. Oh, they're going to believe. Why? Because they rejected the truth. Because they rejected the truth for falsehood. Because it sounded good. Oh, they know the arboreal tongue. It must be truth. It sounds so wonderful. Oh, they speak so eloquently. They know how to really separate they really know how to separate the subject and the verb. Oh, they speak so eloquently. It must be true. Oh, look how they break down the Abait. Oh, they're so high-minded, little one, they want to say Hebrew no more. They tell you that Hebrew ain't a word. Hebrew's not a word. It's not even a word. Yes, it is. You just heard it proceed from my mouth. It's a word. You can even find it in a dictionary. It's a word. It's not a word, little way. It's the Abait, which is even not a pure tongue yet. But they sound so eloquently. Oh, their zits are extra long too. They zits are extra long, and they walk around with their linen on, with their long robes on. Men look at them very strange, and instead of being that light that draws those moths out of darkness into his marvelous light, men are running away from them. They're running away from you because you're not inviting to all men. You're false. You're false. You're false. And those who listen to you, you're going to get a harsher and stricter judgment than them. Because it'd been better if a millstone had been tied around your neck and you thrown into the depths of the sea than for you to cause one of his little ones to stumble. Yea. Whores, prostitutes, and tax collectors are going to make it into the kingdom before some of you Pharisees. You're false. This is a true or false questionnaire. That's it. True or false. True or false. And many of you false ones who declare that you're true because you're doing that which is false. Guess what? He's going to turn even you over to a strong delusion that you believe the lie that you're already believing because you're already operating in falsehood. This is not just for Christians. This is not just for Christians. This is for the nations. This is for Ephraim, every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Those who are still operating in folly, operating in according to the works of their flesh. This is for you. You're going to believe the lie. Many of you are going to believe the lie. It's going to be very convincing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you're already false. You're already operating in falsehood. I don't care how much truth you speak. A little falsehood is still false. It's still an untruth. Just as the Torah declares, if you obey all the Torah and you commit adultery, you've transgressed the whole Torah and you're going to die. You're going to die. It doesn't matter if it's a little falsehood or a lot of falsehood. Falsehood is falsehood. And the destroyer of flesh is coming for you. He's coming for you. And many of you are going to be deceived by him. Because signs and wonders are for you. They're for unbelievers. And you're going to believe that he is authentically true. Come on, read for us, little one.
As to the coming of our Master, Yahushua Mashiach, and our gathering together to him, we ask you, brothers, not to become easily unsettled in mind or troubled, either by ruach or by word or by letter, as if from us, as if the day of Yahuwah has come. Let no one deceive you in any way, because the falling away is to come first, and the man of lawlessness is to be revealed.
He's already revealed. He just hadn't come. He just hadn't resurrected yet in accordance with the text. But his body has been found perfectly preserved. Namru, the man of rebellion, the 13th from Adam, 13 being the number of rebellion, his name itself, meaning rebellion. He is the beast in which the whole world has worshipped. The whole world has worshipped since the time of his reign, since the time of the tower, since the collapse of the Tower of Babel. The whole world has worshipped him. And the whole world continues to worship him. He's coming back. He is the man of lawlessness, in which Hasatan is going to, he's going to embody him and operate in signs and wonders unlike the earth has ever seen. Come on, read.
The son of destruction,
yeah,
who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim.
The son of destruction. The master told you destruction is coming. The destroyer is coming. The destroyer of life, death is coming. He is the son of destruction. He's coming to destroy. He's coming to kill, steal, and destroy. He's coming to destroy flesh. He's coming to gather his portion, that which belongs to him, that which is operating in falsehood, that which is operating according to the flesh. And Yahuwah is going to allow his wrath to be poured out to destroy the flesh in order that the soul will be saved. And because many of the souls of men are going to be saved around the throne in Revelation 7, there's going to be many that is going to be innumerable surrounding the throne from every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Ephraim, his firstborn, mankind, Adam is going to be saved as promised. As promised. Mankind is going to be saved, having washed, purged, purified themselves in the fires of a great distress. Come on, read.
Or that is worshipped, so that he sits as Elohim in the dwelling place of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Do you not remember that I told you this while I was still with you? And now you know what restrains for him to be revealed.
And now you know what restrains. The light restrains him, Yehuda. The light, the Ruach HaKadosh, Yahuwah. The light restrains him. I wish I could do an experiment. It still looks like it's still a little day, but I want you to do something. Once this message is over with, and perhaps it will be dark, I want you to walk into a dark room and turn the light on and see what happens. The darkness gonna flee. They can't occupy the same space. It is the light that restrains him. It is the living water that restrains him. But the light is going to be removed when darkness comes to this earth. He is darkness. As Yahuwah is light, he is darkness. And in order for him to rule, the light must be removed. In order for the desert to come, the water, the living water must be removed. It is the light that restrains darkness. Yes, it is. It is the light that restrains darkness. It is the light of the Torah. It is the Ruach HaKadosh. It is the Ruach of the living Elohim that restrains him. But he's getting ready to remove himself. And he must remove himself. And when he removes himself, it is there in Revelation 12 where we find him simultaneously removing his people. Removing his sons of light. Removing true believers. 144,000 worldwide in this season. Come on, read.
For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains come out of the midst.
Only until he who now restrains, the Ruach HaKadosh, the light, the living Torah amongst us, the light amongst us. For Elohim indeed is light, and in him, hear him, is no darkness at all. If we say we have fellowship with him, yet walk in darkness, we lie and do not live by the truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, then we have fellowship with him, and the blood of Yahushua then cleanses us from all unrighteousness. The light's going to be removed. The light must be removed in order for the reign of darkness to reign. The light must be removed along with 144,000 true believers, 144,000 true sons of light of the house of Yahudah. Must be removed first. Where there's found no falsehood in them. True or false? True or false questionnaire. This is a true or false test. This is a true or false proving. This is a true or false separation, a true or false testing. A separation between true believers and unbelievers. True believers of whom there's found no falsehood, of whom who simply do righteousness. And who follow the Lamb's voice, who wherever he leads them, who do not need a sign or a wonder. Who only need the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. 144,000 true believers worldwide. A true or false questionnaire. A true or false test. A true or false proving. A true or false greater separation that is going on in this season. Separating true believers from unbelievers. Separating the righteous from the unrighteous. It is belief that does so. And believers have always been proven Believers have always been tested, severely tested. And we will not leave this place without being severely tested. Come on, read.
And then the lawless one shall be revealed.
Then the lawless one shall be revealed. Revelation 13, it's in the text. Revelation 13, there's a witness. Then he shall be revealed. Revelation 12, how Satan is thrown down, and a third of the messengers with him. He chased the remnant, the true believers, the righteous ones, into the wilderness, where he tries to overcome and he cannot. Where he spews out water to overcome the righteous, but the earth opens up to swallow the water. He then, being raised, turns to those who have the witness of Yahusha and who guard the commandments of Yahusha and who guard the commandments of Elohim. Those who are almost perfect. Those who have some falsehood in them, who are almost perfect. Then the next chapter we turn to Revelation chapter 13, the chapter of Revelation. 13 being the number of rebellion. This is the chapter in which the man of lawlessness is revealed. This is the chapter of which he is given the power and authority to overcome the Kadosh ones. There's a witness to it. There's a witness. But once he is removed, the true believers, 144,000 worldwide, who have passed the test, who have passed the true or false test, will be removed from this earth and brought to Mount Zion, where we'll be given a song that no one else can sing. Where we will be weighed before the Master as a first fruit, well-pleasing and acceptable offering unto him. Come on, read.
Whom the Master shall consume with the ruach of his mouth.
Revelation 19, it has another witness. Go read it. Revelation 19, when he's going to destroy the beast with the fire that proceeds from his mouth. Revelation 19, out of the mouth of two or more witnesses, let every matter be established. And with the beast, a vast army coming out to fight the Mashiach. The beast army coming out to fight the Mashiach. Oh, you thought the stress was for everybody. No, it's for you. It's for you, Ephraim. Although Ephraim is among every nation, tribe, and tongue, not everybody in every nation, tribe, and tongue is Ephraim. No, not everybody in every nation, tribe, and tongue is Ephraim. But Ephraim is of every nation, tribe, and tongue. He is mankind. He represents mankind. But a vast army going to follow the beast. A vast army is going to follow him. There's another witness out of the mouth of two or more witnesses. Let every matter be established. And they're going to persecute. They're going to persecute those who have the witness of Yahusha, who guard the commandments of Yahuwah, but there's found falsehood in them. Falsehood is found, and they're going to go through the great distress so that they become pure, so that they become undefiled, so that they become purified, purged in the fires of the great distress, in order that their souls will be saved. As the destroyer of the flesh comes to destroy flesh, to destroy the flesh, so that the souls of men will be saved. Come on, read.
And bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming.
The
coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Hashatan.
Read.
With all power and signs and wonders of
falsehood. With all power and signs and wonders and what, little one?
And wonders of falsehood.
And wonders of falsehood. Yes, sir. True or false, that's it. There's no in between. Either you're true or you're false. Either you are true or you're false. Either you're a good tree or you're a bad tree. True or false. True or false? This is a true or false test. This is a true or false proving. This is a true or false questionnaire. This is it. True or false? Only the true are going to Mount Zion. Only the true are going to enter into eternity. Only true believers, 144,000 worldwide, whom it says they follow the Lamb's voice wherever he led them. In them was found no guile in them. They were pure, they were undefiled, and in them was found no falsehood. In them was found no falsehood. Here, he's going to lead with falsehood. He's going to lead the false. I don't care whether it's a little falsehood or a lot of falsehood. He's going to lead the false astray. He's going to lead the unbelievers astray. The unbelievers who need signs and wonders. Who need a sign or a wonder. Whereas a true believer does not need a sign or wonder. All he needs is the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. As he spoke to the false and the Ba'ikana Shahs, he was speaking to the Pharisees who wanted a sign. Oh, he talked about that wicked, perverse and unbelieving generation. That wicked, perverse and adulterous generation. Adulterous meaning unbelieving, because if you unbelieving, you'll commit adultery. You wicked and adulterous generation. He said, no sign will be given unto you, except of the sign of the prophet Jonah. You see, true believers have the prophets, what? Have the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. No sign will be given unto you, except of the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the son of Adam be in the earth. So shall the son of Adam be in the earth. Now, had they been true believers, they would have understood that that Jonah, not only was he swallowed by the fish, but Jonah, he died. Yes, he did. He died. He drowned. He died, and he went to hell. Read the text. Read the text. He drowned. He died. He went to hell. And from hell he cried out. From hell he cried out. And after 3 days and 3 nights, he was resurrected and thrown up on dry ground. He was resurrected. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And just like Jonah, 3 days and 3 nights, he was in the earth. He went to hell. He went to Sheol. Yes, he did. Read the text. Read the text. His flesh was put to death. His flesh was put to death, and he was raised to life in Ruach. And in his form, he went down to the pit and preached to those who had perished in the time of Noah. And after 3 days and 3 nights, he was resurrected, just like Jonah. Either you believe the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, or you do not. Had they been true believers and had true understanding, because if you're a true believer, he will give you true understanding. You will get the understanding that Jonah was a shadow, that he died. He went to hell. He spent 3 days and 3 nights down there, and he was resurrected as he cried out. He cried out from hell, and he was resurrected and thrown up on the ground by this mighty fish. The Torah, the prophets, and the writings. This is all we need. And I believe. We believe. We don't need a sign or wonder. But most of you do. He's coming for you, because signs and wonders are for you. Come on, read.
And with all deceit of unrighteousness.
And with all deceit of unrighteousness. This is a separation between what? The righteous and the unrighteous. True believers and unbelievers. As belief separates the righteous from the unrighteous. He's coming with falsehood and all works of unrighteousness to deceive you. Because only 144,000 true believers are going to be delivered from his hands in this season. 144,000 saved from the hour of trial. True believers who have passed the true and false test. Come on, read.
In those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth.
They did not receive the love of the truth that has been proclaimed to them. Read.
In order for them to be saved.
In order for them to be saved from the hour of trial. Read.
And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion.
And for this reason, Elohim is going to send you a working of delusion.
For them to believe the falsehood.
For you to believe the falsehood, because you are false. If you have a little falsehood in you, you're still false. Those who are going to Zion must have no falsehood. They must be true. True or false test. That's it. Either you're true or you're false. That's it. There is no in between. This is a true or false questionnaire. This is it. Whether you have an ounce of falsehood or less than an ounce, whether you have just a speck of falsehood in you, if you have a speck of falsehood in you and you're walking in shade, there's still darkness. He's coming for you. He's coming to deceive you because you rejected the truth. Because you have rejected the truth. And he's been proclaiming his truth through his servant, through the mouth of his servant, with a fervent fire now. For over 3 years. Some have believed the truth, most have not. But I'm not surprised. There's only 144,000 true believers are going to be delivered from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. The rest are going to be left to their falsehood, to their untruth, for the man of lawlessness, for this false Mashiach. You're going to be left for him, and he's coming to destroy your flesh so that perhaps your soul will be saved. Read, little one.
In order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in the unrighteousness.
True or false? True or false? True or false? This is the choice. Either you're righteous or unrighteous, either you're true or false. Either you're a believer or you're an unbeliever. It is true belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous. It's always been this way. This is the ancient way. It is belief that separates the righteous from the unrighteous, and true belief is going to save our lives in this season. True belief is going to save our lives in this season. The unbelievers are going to be left for the man of lawlessness. He's coming in lying signs and wonders to deceive you. To deceive you because you would rather receive falsehood than the truth. The truth is too boring for you. The truth is too simple for you. The word of Torah, the word of righteousness, the word of the Mashiach is too simple for you. The word of the stake is foolishness to you. It's too simple for you. So he's turning you over to your falsehood for the false Mashiach when he comes for you to destroy your wicked flesh so that perhaps your soul will be saved. True or false questionnaire. A true and false proving. A true and false testing. This is it. The true will pass the test because the true would not turn to the right or to the left. The true would do no form of unrighteousness. The true would rather die than to do unrighteousness. And the true will follow the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them, having no falsehood coming from their mouths. The true will be led to Mount Dion to be redeemed from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. Give us another precept, little one. How are we looking for time?
1:35.
Give us another precept.
Got John, the first chapter.
John 1. John chapter 1. YAHUAH'S chapter 1. YAHUAH'S chapter 1. Light and darkness, cannot coexist. As it is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, beginning around 14, it says there, what partnership has light with darkness, and what fellowship has the Mashiach with Belial, with wickedness? Wherefore, come out from among them. Be ye separate, be ye separated. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Do you understand the context and the applicability of that to this time? Light cannot coexist with darkness. Righteousness cannot coexist with unrighteousness. The Mashiach who's in us and us in him, he cannot coexist with Belial, the man of wickedness, the man of lawlessness. He is Belial. He is the man of wickedness. He is the man of lawlessness. He is desiring to receive us, to receive those who have separated ourselves from every unclean matter, from every unclean thing, so that when the man of lawlessness, when the man of wickedness comes, when darkness, when literal darkness comes, when the kingdom of darkness comes to this earth, and he readies himself to remove the light from his earth, when man will diligently search for truth, when men will diligently search to hear for an authentic word of Elohim, when there is a famine in the earth, not that of food, but for the word of Elohim. And when man will go from sea to sea and from east to west, looking and listening for a word of Elohim, but will not find him. Because at that time, he's going to remove himself. He's going to remove the light so that darkness can reign. He's going to turn off the water. He's going to remove the living water so that the darkness can reign. For indeed, when a spirit is cast out of a man, it goes through dry places looking for rest. And when it can find none, it goes and it looks, it goes and it returns to the man. And if it finds that house swept and clean and put in order, it goes and gets 7 more ruach more wicked than it, and they come and dwell in him. In the next state of that man, it's worse than the last. Do you not understand that drought, famine, peril, war is coming to this earth? There will be no rain. There will be no rain. The rain is going to be removed. There's going to be drought. The living water is going to be removed. The conditions are going to be made conducive for these ruach to come. The whole earth is going to be made conducive for this ruach to come. Because they've been cast out once. The earth has been purged once. It was purged by water. It was purged by water. But because of Namrud and because of these ruach of the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, they've come now. And they found that the earth during this time, they're going to find the earth swept and clean and put in order. In other words, void of the Ruach HaKadosh, void of life. And they're going to come and dwell here. Those 7 are representing completion. They're going to come and dwell here. And the next state of this earth is going to be worse than that time. There's a time coming upon the earth that's going to be worse than the earth has ever seen before. Worse than the earth has ever seen. Worse than the earth has ever seen before, when the water is removed and that dryness come and the conditions are made conducive for those Ruach Kuk and the man of lawlessness to dwell here. When the light is removed, when the earth is dark, when the earth is made dark, when a time comes that they're used to, because they've been given authority over the darkness. They've been given dominion over the darkness. The earth is going to be made conducive for them. And they're going to rule and reign for 3.5 years. In a time of death and mayhem and chaos and lawlessness are going to be let loose on the earth. A time unlike the earth has ever seen before. And if those days are not short, no flesh is going to remain. Except for the righteous. Those found righteous, those who are found operating in truth, who are found having no falsehood in them, who are found believing and following the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them, although tired, although weary, although afflicted, following the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them, leading them to Mount Zion, to a place of safety for the righteous and the righteous alone, delivering us from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. Come on, read. Give us another precept. John 1, YAHUAH'S 1. And I think we may stop here. Okay. YAHUAH'S chapter 1, John 1, beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
In the beginning was the Word.
In the beginning was the Word, was the Torah, the light. The living Torah was the light, as it reads in Proverbs, I believe, 6, chapter 24, 23 or 24. The Torah is light and the command a lamp. Torah is light, because Torah is Yahuwah. And he is light. Elohim is light, and in him is no darkness at all. In the beginning was the Word, in the beginning was the Torah, in the beginning was the eternal light. Read.
And the Word was with Elohim.
And the Word was with Elohim.
And the Word was Elohim.
And the Word was Elohim. Elohim is light, and in him is no darkness at all. He is the Torah. He is the light. Thy Word is a lamp unto my feet and a light into my path. He is the light. He is the eternal light that shines on darkness, that illuminates the darkness, that causes the darkness to flee. Where there is light, darkness cannot exist. Do you understand? Where there is light, darkness cannot exist. Wherefore the light must be removed for the kingdom of darkness to come. Come on, read.
He was in the beginning with Elohim.
Yes.
All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. In him was life, and the life was the light of men.
Torah is life. Torah is life. It is written, if you're careful to obey these instructions, if you're careful to obey the Torah, then you will live. You will live by them. Come on, read.
And the light shines in the darkness.
And the what?
And the light shines in the darkness.
And the light shines in the darkness. The Torah is the light. The Word is the light. He is the living Torah. Understand the context. He is going to remove himself. He hadn't removed himself yet. No, because he has not removed us. When he ascended, he did what? He poured out this light. He began to pour out this light upon our flesh. He began to pour out his Ruach upon our flesh. In the hearts of men. He began to put his light in the hearts of men and write his Torah upon our hearts, whereby entering into the bond of covenant with us. He will remove the light, and all of those operating in true light, having no falsehood found in us. He is going to remove us. These are those found believing, because this separates us. These are those found believing and doing no unrighteousness, having no guile found in them, no unrighteousness found in them, no falsehood found in them, following the light, the Torah, following the Lamb wherever he led them. Come on, read.
And the darkness has not overcome it.
The darkness has not overcome it. Do you understand? Revelation 13 declares that darkness will be given the power to overcome the Kadosh ones. To overcome them. Here it says the darkness has not overcome it. the light will be removed. And those sons of light will be removed with him. It must be removed for the son of darkness to reign, for darkness himself to reign, for death himself to reign. The light must be removed. Come on.
There was a man sent from Elohim,
Yeah.
whose name was YAHUAH'S.
His name was YAHUAH'S. Read.
This one came for a witness,
To
bear witness of the light,
bear witness of the light. Read.
that all might believe through him.
That all might believe through him.
He was not that light,
He was not that light,
but that he might bear witness of that light.
but that he may bear witness of that light.
He was the true light.
He was the true light. He was the true light. I told you, this is a true and false questionnaire. Either you have a true light in you or you have a false light in you. This is a true and false questionnaire. This is a true and false test. If the true light is in you, there can be no falsehood in you. There can be no falsehood that proceeds from your mouth. If the true light is in you, and if the true light is in you, you're going to be proven. You're going to be tested. You're going to be stretched. You're going to be tested severely. And he wants to use you. He wants to make a distinction between his people. He wants to show his people. He wants to show the earth that he still makes a distinction between his people and give the earth one last opportunity to repent. Having seen his true sons of righteousness, he wants to give them one last chance to repent. This is a season of preparation. This is a season of sifting, of a greater sifting. As we are being proven, as he's panning for gold, looking for those few fine specks of fine, precious, rare gold to be used as true sons of light, to plant us by rivers of water so that during a time of drought, we will still be fruit-bearing trees during a time of famine. Water-producing rocks during a time of drought. Light-producing lamps during a time of darkness. This is a time of a great test and a time of a greater separation, separating true believers from the rest. And it is belief that determines who are the righteous and the unrighteous. And it is belief that is going to save our lives. Stop thinking you're going to skip through the tulips. When we get to Mount Zion, you will have earned it. All of us will have earned it. The higher the mountain that we have to climb, the greater reward, the greater the reward on the other side of the mountain. We will have earned those roads. We will have earned that song that no one else can sing. We will have earned it. The master is proclaiming these words because he wants you to brace. To brace. To take this serious. To brace for what's coming. To go down to the threshing floor. To lie at the feet of your husband. To have relations with your husband so that he can fill you full of belief. The belief necessary to do what is required of us. To be that fruit-bearing tree. To be that water-producing rock. To be that light-producing lamp. Belief is something that must be in us. Belief is not something that we can do on our own. Belief is ruach. Belief is spirit. Belief must be in us. You must get this belief at the threshing floor. And when he fills you full of belief, you're going to be tested and proven so that he can give you more belief so that you can produce more fruit of righteousness. Stop speaking as though this is going to be easy. He's coming soon, but you're going to be tested. Severely tested. We may be taken to the brink of death, but he's promised to not allow us to be destroyed. But you must have the belief that even if I am destroyed, because if you erase fear from the equation, and if you have the belief that even if I am destroyed, I will see, in my flesh, I will see the master. in the first resurrection. Stop thinking that it's going to be easy. Yes, he's coming as a thief in the night, and he can come at any time, but you're going to go through something first. You got to hold on. You got to hold on, Yahudah. You got to endure. You got to endure the testing. You got to endure the proving. This is a true and false questionnaire. This is a true and false test. To pass this test, we must be proven to be true. And there cannot be any falsehood found in us. There can be no guile found in us. We must be able, through belief, to follow the Master's voice wherever he leads us, no matter what. We must endure the test. We must be found well-doing. We must be found being that light to the nations, being that light to the Gentiles. We must be found well-doing. And if we're found well-doing, doing the works of the Torah, doing the works of the Torah that leads to everlasting life, being living Torahs. If we're found well-doing, doing the works of the Father while it is still day, understanding full well that night cometh soon when no man can work. When the time of the anti-Messiah comes, no man is going to be able to work. Darkness is coming then. That's the time to flee, because you're going to have to flee for your life. From city to city and from thick grove to thick grove and hide in clefts of rocks. You're going to have to run then. There will be no place to hide, because the destroyer of flesh is coming to destroy, to kill, steal, and destroy, and he will have a right to do so. He will have a right to do so, and it's going to please the Master for the flesh to be afflicted. It's going to please him that there's going to be ascending offerings offered up to him. It's going to please him because the breath, the soul is going to ascend as an ascending offering to him, well-pleasing and acceptable unto him, having been purged, cleansed, washed, purified in the fires of the great distress. And they're going to ascend as a well-pleasing ascending offering unto him after having the flesh destroyed. Because they would not hear the word of truth now. They would not hear the word of truth. They would not hear him, and they would not abide in truth. They would not abide in the pure, simple milk of the word. It's too simple for them. They would not abide in truth. They would rather hear and do falsehood. And because of it, you're going to be deceived in many false, lying signs and wonders when a man of lawlessness comes and manifests in flesh. Come on, read, Lord.
Which enlightens every man coming into the world.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the authority to become children of Elohim,
mm-hmm.
to those believing in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the desire of flesh,
nor of the desire of flesh,
nor of the desire of man,
nor of the desire of man,
but of Elohim.
But of Elohim. You can stop right there. But of Elohim. Yahuwah is the true light. He is the true light that enlightens every man. He is the true light, the living Torah that shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. Hear him. And the darkness cannot overcome it. In order for the darkness to overcome, and it will overcome, Revelation 13, the light must be removed. The light is truth. Thy word is truth. The light is truth. And those who operate in the light and who operate in Torah, who have the Torah written upon their hearts, who have the light inside of them, will operate in truth. And no falsehood will be found in them. These are believers. These are believers. One cannot receive the Ruach without belief. It was written here, the true children of Elohim are those who were not born of flesh, nor born of the desire of man, nor born of blood, but who are born of Elohim, who are born of the free woman, who are born from the Jerusalem above, born of water and of spirit. As Yahuwah is not flesh and blood, he is Ruach, his true children, The true children of Elohim, of those who are born of water and of Ruach. These are the true children of light. These are those who have the seal of the living Elohim upon their forehead. These are those who have his name written upon their forehead. These are those who believe and who do no falsehood, who have no guile in them. These are those who will turn neither to the right or to the left of the path that is laid before them. These are those who will follow the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them. These are those because they believe there will be found no uncleanness in them. They will abstain from every unclean matter. These are those who will look and act like the Mashiach. These are those who will have the very nature and character of Yahuwah himself. These are 144,000 true believers worldwide. Worldwide in this season, who have passed and who are passing the true and false exam, the true and false test that determines either you're true or you're false, either you're a believer or you're an unbeliever, or you're right, either you're righteous or you're unrighteous, either you're going to do righteousness or you're going to do unrighteousness, either you're going to do the Torah or you're going to do lawlessness. The Master has declared, if you obey all of the Torah, if you obey all of the Torah and you do not show compassion and love your neighbor as yourself, you've transgressed all of the Torah. You've transgressed it all. It's always been this way, Yehuda. Either you're true, either you're false. Either you're a tree that bears good fruit, either you're a true tree, or you're a false tree that bears bad fruit. Either you're a son or daughter of Elohim. Either you're children of Elohim who what? Who believe. For as many who believe, he is given the right to become children of Elohim. Either you believe, and if you believe, you will repent. You will turn from you will turn from lawlessness. You will turn from every manner of unclean thing. You will turn from the thing that displeases the Master. You will turn from it. You will turn from all unrighteousness. You will stop trying to deceive people. You know you're trying to teach people, but you know you're not the person that you perceive, that you're proclaiming to be. You know you're not, and you're deceiving the people. And you'd rather have a millstone tied around your neck. You're false. You're false. Either you're true or you're false. It is belief that separates us. Belief will cause us to do what is righteous. Belief will cause us to teshuvah, to repent from every unclean manner, from every manner of lawlessness. Belief will cause us to seek to be immersed, to be washed from uncleanness, to be washed from our sins, to be washed from our leprosy, to be washed from our running sores, to be washed from our menstrual cycle, to be washed from the touching of dead things, to be immersed and purged in the waters given for purification, the waters given for cleanness, given for uncleanness. It will cause us to seek by belief to be immersed in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the forgiveness of sins. And wherefore, by belief, be impaled with him and die to the flesh with him, to die to the wickedness of the flesh with him, whereby through belief, having satisfied the penalty of death that was given to Adam, that was given to mankind for partaking of the fruit, and that judgment of death then passing down through them unto all their seed. Through belief, when we are immersed in his name and impaled with him, that judgment of death is being satisfied in us through belief, and we are dying with him, because the wages of sin is death, and we must die. Either we die now or we die later, but we're going to die. This is why many are going to die in the fires of the great distress, because the wages of sin is death. It requires death. You're going to die so that you will live. Your flesh is going to be destroyed so that you will live. But the master is declaring now through the mouth of his servant, whom he has sent as a voice, crying out in the wilderness. Crying out in the wilderness to his children, to whomever he's given ears to hear. Turning the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the hearts of the children back to the fathers, lest he come with utter destruction to destroy the earth. To turn to teshuvah, to repent, to destroy the flesh, the works of the flesh, to put it under subjection, to be immersed in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the forgiveness of sin, whereby through belief dying with him, being impaled with him, through belief, and having that judgment of death satisfied in you, and through belief being buried with him in the immersion, and through belief being resurrected to the newness of life as a new wineskin, and through belief having renewed wine, renewed life, the blood of grapes being poured into you, because the life of the creature is his blood. Having renewed wine, the blood of grapes poured into you. For the promise is to you who are near, and to those who are far off, and to many as Yahuwah, and to as many as Yahuwah, as our Elohim shall call. And whereby, as you've gone down to the threshing floor, as a bride's price has been paid for you, whether you accept it or not, a bride's price has been paid. A bride's price that is paid in blood, because the only thing that can bring one from death to life, is to pour life into a dead thing. The only way to resurrect the dead is to pour life into a dead thing. It's to pour blood into it. And he has shed his blood. He has poured out all his life upon the ground. He has purchased you as his bride, not with perishable things like silver or gold, but he has purchased and redeemed you with his very own dung. To deny and reject it is to deny his suffering. It's to deny what Yahuwah himself did for you. And if you continue to deny him and to continue operating in falsehood, there will remain no crime offering for you. If you have died in this time without having been judged, or if you have died in this time after you have received this ruach and turned back to wickedness and turned back to crime, there remains no crime offering for you. A bride's price has been paid for you according to the Torah. A man has purchased a wife. That man now owns this wife. That man is the master of this wife. And the only choice of that wife, as that wife now has been seized in the field of the earth by a man mightier than her, as she is the weaker vessel. That woman has been seized in the field of the earth. The only choice of that woman is to lay with that man, continue to lay with that man of lawlessness, or to cry out in the field of the earth, to cry out for deliverance in the field of the earth, from whence our kinsman redeemer will come and deliver you. But hear him. The only way to be delivered is for your husband to come and have relations with you, for him to enter you, because whom the Son sets free is free indeed. He sets you free from the flesh. He sets you free from Egypt. He sets you free from Masrayim. He sets you free from the works of the flesh. The only way to be set free from the works of the flesh is to be reborn of Ruach, and to walk in the truth of the Torah, the truth of the light. The only way to do so is for him, is for our husband to have relations with us, to enter us, to put light in us, to write his Torah upon our heart. Do not deny him what is rightfully his. He has purchased you with a bride's price. You belong to him. Whether you accept this truth or not, it matters not. You belong to him. And as your husband, marital rights are his. Your body is not your own. Your body belongs to him. You cannot deny him his marital rights. Go down to the threshing floor, cover yourself in a sheet at the feet of your kinsman redeemer. Invite him in as your husband to have relations with you, whereby filling you with living water, if you are clean, Because once again, he will not lie with a whore. You must first repent. You must repent from every manner of uncleanness and every manner of lawlessness, and allow the master to wash you with the washing of the word. As Ruth received the instructions from Naomi. Naomi instructed Ruth to wash herself first. Yes, she did. Ruth was washed first. She said, go wash. Go take a bath first. Anoint yourself with oil. Then go down and lay at the feet of your kinsman redeemer. Repent. Turn from your lawlessness. Turn from your uncleanness. Turn from your falsehood. And allow the washing of the word through obedience of the word to wash and cleanse you. Then your kinsman redeemer will come and lie with you. He won't lie with a whore. He won't lie with any unclean thing. And when he comes and lies with you, a redemption will take place. He will redeem you from the power of darkness, bring you to his marvelous light, write his name upon your forehead, write his Torah upon your heart, circumcise your heart, whereby creating a greater separation in you, putting his light in you, putting his truth in you, causing you to walk in truth, causing you to avoid every manner of falsehood, causing you to pass the test, to pass the true or false test, no matter what is thrown your way. Cry out or die. Cry out in the field of the earth, ally with this man that is mightier than you, who is Hasatan, and die with him in the second death, commonly called the lake burning with fire. Cry out or die. This is your only choice. You have a husband. He has purchased you. He has bought you. He desires to seal you. He desires to fill you full of belief. He desires to save you from the hour of trial. He desires for you to pass the test. He desires for you to be his covenant people. He desires for you to be called a Yahudim. He desires for you to be called a Yahudi. He desires to wave you before the Father as a well-pleasing first fruit, wave offering, well-pleasing and acceptable unto him. He desires to save your life. He desires to fill you full of that belief that will save your life and that will make the determining factor if whether or not you are called righteous or unrighteous. Thank you, Master, for your words of truth. Thank you for your loving commitment and kindness towards your children. Thank you for your patience towards us. Thank you for your continual words of warning and continual words of truth towards us to cause us to be in alignment with that which pleases you. It is my prayer, Master, that these words, that they're not falling void, but that they are going forth and accomplishing that which you are sending them forth to do. It is my prayer that these words are going forth as a hammer that shatters, shattering both the chains and shackles of Egypt, setting your people free from the binds of darkness and snatching them even out of the fire, bringing them into your marvelous light. It is my prayer that even the anointing that is here, that is with them who is ever listening under the sound of my voice, because indeed it is the anointing that destroys the yoke. It is my prayer that this seed, that this word, that this seed can save their lives, has not been scattered on shallow, has not been scattered by the wayside, that it has not been scattered on shallow soil, that it has not been scattered amongst thorns, but that it has been scattered amongst fertile soil, tilled, fertilized soil, made conducive to the planting of the seed of the Dabar, of the word, of the Dalet Ba'if Rash, the word that gets us through the door into the house, that allows us to meet the head, that it has been planted in soil made conducive for the receiving of it, such that the living water will come and water that word, that seed, such that that seed will conceive life and began to grow and give birth to new life, to renewed life, and that renewed life will begin to grow into a mighty tree to produce the fruit that leads to everlasting life through belief, and that fruit would be worthy enough to be considered first fruit, to be waved before you on Mount Zion as a well-pleasing, acceptable offering unto you. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray. So be it. So be it. So be it. For those of you who are on YouTube, it is my prayer once more that these words have penetrated, that these words have convicted, that these words have shaken, that these words have edified you, that these words have caused you to fall naked before his feet, because we indeed are all naked, but he is our husband. And it is commanded of the Torah that a husband is to clothe his naked wife, to provide food for her, and to give her marital rights. It is my prayer that nakedness has been revealed, that you're falling before his feet naked, the place where your nakedness is covered, the place where he will have relations with you and enter you, the place where there is forgiveness of your crimes. It is my prayer that even now that he is filling you full of belief in this place, the place where the necessary belief that it's going to be required to cause us to make it through, even before the hour of trial comes, to make it through and to be counted worthy, to be brought to his Kadosh mountain, Mount Zion, to be given a song that no one else can sing. Once again, if you're on YouTube, if you have a desire to join us live, once this video has been uploaded, there in the video description box, there'll be an email address of which you can use to contact us if you have a desire to fellowship with us live, either on our 4th days or either during our Shabbat gatherings. Until the next time we meet, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor unto you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasharal, and I myself shall barak them. So be it, so be it, so be it. Shalom.